Yeah, so for my ears, that's a better texture. I mean, it's, yeah, you just hear the melody more. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is rubato. You know, there's so much, I mean, it's romantic style. So we have a lot of rubato we can do. There's a great accompanist, Gerald Moore, who wrote a book called Am I Too Loud? And he said, you know, he talked about rubato, which of course means to steal. And he said, in Baroque music, in early music, we steal what we give back. In this music, we steal what we don't give it back. You know, you can just kind of take. And what I find about your rubatos as you're doing this is that they never get larger. In other words, when you're doing, you'll go like bum dee dum dee da dee dum dee da dee. You're pretty much stopping every time on the measure. And you know, that's certainly great when you're first starting out. I mean, that's kind of the size of the line. But sometimes it goes longer. You know, the most typical Mozart phrase is short, short, long. They'll just, you know, 2 bars, and then 4. And these guys picked up from that a lot. So for instance, this is a really long line. And you can set that up by maybe taking a little more time here, but then go through it more. And don't stop in the middle as much. So let's try from here. Long line. The most typical rubato in these long lines is slow, fast, slow. But again, if you stop at every measure like that, it kind of prohibits that. So I think you need more of these long scale rubatos in it. Let's do a little from here. So these are shorter phrases, right? For me, this would be a typical example of that. Like, you have da dee da da dee da, da dee da 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 dee da, da dee da 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 da. So that's longer. And again, you stopped kind of on the E here in the middle of it. So let's take this passage again and think about that.
And here, like the other one, we want a little slower through here.
Right. We go slow, fast, slow through the third of the phrases.
Okay.
So that's a complete empty. Let's just play on a little more. You know, and if Mertz has given us this big chord in the middle of so much arpeggiating, you know, I think that's akin to a singer, say, having to leap an octave and taking a second to hear it and then really go. Okay. So there's a kind of a built-in expressive value to the difficulty there. So I don't think you have to just pass through that. You can take a little time for something like that. I think he's aware that it's going to take us a second to get that. So go with that, I think. So maybe even from there. Happens in this piece is, as it's going now, I think the phrases get a little longer. So you know, this can be dolce without being as held back as you did. Okay. So let's try it again from here. And this is going to be a place, just to stop you for 1 second, where I want you to experiment with holding the G longer. You can do it, but you can do it later. Okay. do it with a different inflection. Maybe maybe you can take it a little longer for the yes or something. Yeah.
I've heard some people do.
Hit it again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way you're doing it better than that.
Okay.
To be honest with you. Yeah. So let's pick it up from here. Maybe that'll get us going. So if, I would set the minor one up by not holding back as much on the major one.
Okay.
You can do some there, but let's really set it up there. Try to get the hands together. Making more sound with that. Okay. Yeah, and as I think I mentioned to someone earlier, but when you lessen the accompaniment this way, then you don't have to push the top out so much. You have more dynamic room at the top, essentially. That's all I have to tell you. It's nice playing and just some of these details. Thank you. All right.
Mr. Tanenbaum, I have a question.